Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, I'll be doing my AFL fantasy review of the Richmond vs Sydney game that happened on the Friday night, and how Sydney basically dominated the last quarter and really dominated most parts of the match to overrun Richmond and come out with a convincing, I think it was 44 point victory. So before we get into it, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So as you can see here, Baker top scored with a 1-2-2, and that was a huge performance from him. Huge third quarter, which really helped him out. And yeah, I was sort of surprised that he did this. And not really necessarily annoyed, but just, yeah. I wish I'd got him, but at 681k, I was sort of iffy, and I didn't know how Short coming back in a couple of weeks would impact him, so I sort of didn't know 100% on his role, and I was toing and froing with it, and yeah, in the end, I just didn't go for him, and he ended up going large. So yeah, sort of a miss, sort of a not. Hopper here, 111, huge scoring from him, so one to look into, but I don't think it'll be anything in the end. Yeah, huge first quarter from him. Then you have Taranto here, just sort of even output, which is really good because it's good not to really have to worry about him having a really bad quarter. I mean, 20-point quarter being his lowest is a really good quarter. That's going to set you up for 80 anyway if you have 420. So for him to score above 25 in each every quarter, it was really good and made up for this a little down quarter in the second. Rioli, another guy that I'm happy I didn't go for now because only hit 85. So yeah, I'm sorry if I recommended it to anyone and they traded him in because he looked alright, but fell away in the second half because he was on 47. But yeah, just didn't help anyone who had him because I was sort of expecting him to go 100s and he didn't in the end. So then, yeah, that sort of sucks. Vloston here, 76. Didn't have a good first half and really had a good third quarter. He looked off the pace, to be honest, and I forgot who he was matching up on. But he, if I'm not mistaken, one free kick. Did he give away another? I only gave away one free kick. Yeah, no, that's surprising, to be honest. Prestia just didn't get into the game after halftime. Yeah, I was surprised about that. For him to be on 51 and then only get to 75 is really weird. Bolton, if you saw my Twitter, I posted about this. I actually think he's going to get 2 or 3 weeks for what he did on, was it GOULD, I want to say? Because that can only be labeled as intentional high impact, which is already a game. Given the MRO rulebook, and it might even be labeled a medium impact, given that it was I don't know, I haven't seen another replay on it, but it might have been a closed fist, which would be surely medium impact, and that'll get him 2 to 3 weeks, I reckon, and that'll be really bad for him because it was just stupid, to be honest. It was off the play. Gave away a 50 as well, I'm thinking. I want to say Golden kicked the goal out of it as well. It was somewhere here. I want to say it was it third or fourth quarter? Let's see. He didn't give away one in the third, so was it half time? Was it third? No, it must have been either here or here. If we go over to, I think it was Golden here. Did he kick a goal late? No, he kicked it behind in the end, so it didn't actually matter too much, as you can see here. But yeah, no, he didn't end up capitalizing on it. But yeah, no, Bolton will be suspended. I'm pretty certain about that. Miller, 69, did all right as a ruckman, but priced at that, I don't think you want to go for him. Martin did all right in patches, but yeah, isn't fantasy relevant. Mansell, glad I didn't go for him as he didn't look up to that good. McIntosh here, 66, didn't look that good either, so that sort of was annoying. Well, not really, because no one's going to have him at 0.4% owned, but yeah, he just really came alive in the last quarter, but yeah, did nothing else outside of that. Cumberland, 65, really didn't get the tackling that he needed to be able to get up to the score he didn't get any goals to help him out. but yeah, 65, only 19 above his break even doesn't really help. Revolt had a massive gash on his forehead, and that's why he didn't do anything in the first, but in the second and third and fourth, he came alive. He had a goal kicked, I think it was this one here, his first goal in the second quarter, where he just literally tries to almost take out Jake Lloyd with a like hand to the forehead, to be honest. So it's quite weird, and I don't know whether that you'll see anything from that, to be honest, because I don't know how that wasn't picked up as high, because he literally was palming him in the face. So that was a bad miss, to be honest. Then you have Bolter, Ralph Smith, Samson Ryan did all right, and that's what I needed out of him. 51, that's going to get his cash flow going again. So that'll get him up to around 260k, 265k, and then he'll have a really good break even next week of probably about 15. And then he'll go in against, I don't know who they play next week. Let me check. They've got Melbourne next week. That'll be a tough matchup for him. But hopefully he can just put up another 40 or 50, and that'll really help his, point scoring. So then you got Young, Judson Clark. No one else really did anything for Richmond. And then Cochin flopped his way to kicking behind here. I think it was somewhere here. And then, kicked it behind off the 50-metre penalty, and then got subbed out because, it's Trent Cochin and he's not really going to add much to a team. Tom Papley here, huge last quarter, 50-point last to get him up to 118. Kicked 6 goals in the second half. 6 goals, and I think it was 15 out of his 25 in the second half. So that was huge. Heaney, huge second half, and so he's going to stick around that 655k, and maybe, just maybe, he's one that you can be a point of difference on almost at this point, given that I think he's going to be pretty much dead in a lot of the teams here. I'd say that's probably 5% of teams that he's in a dead team. So maybe he's one that you can look at and be like, if he picks it up here and goes 100, 80, 90, 100, and then you can pick him up for probably 750k or 700k and just be like, this is a point of difference here in the forward line. And he sort of will be cheap at that point. You got Warner here, huge first quarter. I think he had like 10 touches in the first. He was at 10 touches with 6 minutes to go. So I don't know whether that was here or here. So he only had 10 or 11 touches in the first. And then huge last quarter. Really butchered the ball in front of goal. So he really could have ended up actually on a 110, 115 if he'd kicked straight. I think he kicked 1 goal, 3. And then you have Lloyd here again, scoring well. 99. I just don't like the role that he has, to be honest with you. I know it's good fantasy scoring wise, but I have a feeling he'll just have an off week when you have the likes of the McCartan boys back and Rampy. I think he just doesn't get the role that you want. Goulden beat his break even, 96. Really looked like he was going to score more than that, but sort of fell away a little bit. Gave away a couple of free kicks, which wasn't the best. Didn't lay too many tackles, which again wasn't the best. Like, what did he end up with here? He's up here for me. And then, he ended up 19, 6, 3, and 4. And 4 free kicks and 1 against, and 1 behind. So if he kicked that behind, he'd be on 101, and it'd be a good score, but didn't kick the behind. It ended up on 96. That's all right. Blakey was all right, hit his break even as well. Campbell, really good scoring out of him, so I kind of wish I'd gone for him. Ended up kicking what is probably going to be goal of the round. 50 metres out on the boundary, so really good goal from him. And 91, B's break even by 50. Mills again is dropping in price, and I expect his price to probably be around 850k after this. And just didn't look, he had to play that extra backman role because of the way Sydney had lost all their key players and stuff, and they had a really small, I should say, backline and even forward line at the point then when Amati went down. I mean, they did add height in GOULD, but there was a point there where Robbie Fox at I think 180, 186, 187 might have been their tallest backman. So that was a really small backline against Samson Ryan and Jack Revolt. They didn't have Lynch as well, so it didn't. And Samson Ryan clunked about 10 marks, so it didn't really make a difference. But yeah, it was a really weird game seeing it was basically all midfielder size guys aside from the two ruckman, I guess you could say Miller, Revolt, and then it would have been Gould, Amati, Logan McDonald, and McLean were all the tools in the whole field. So both teams were without about 6 tools basically, most of their roster. And then and then you had Rowbottom, pretty disappointing. Laddams did Laddams type things. He had a couple of shockers in the ruck. Roberts, 64, really good, and that should help his break even skyrocket down. I just don't know about his job security. Parker here, 61. Fox, 56. Hayward, Florent, McInerney, McLean. No one else really did anything. Parker's going to skyrocket down in price, actually, now looking at that. McLean, McDonald, Stevens, Amadi, and then this guy is actually a person. Who knew Will Gould actually played AFL? We thought it was just, I guess, a meme or just an AFL fantasy thing that he was never going to play. I remember seeing earlier today, or yesterday I should say, before the game, that I think it was Warney tweeted out that it would be such a Will Gould thing to not be the only sub that wasn't activated, but he got his chance once Amadi came down with an injury, and it sort of sucked because in one way it helped the Swans out because it got more height into the defense and it got Gould in, and he looked fine in terms of whatever injury he was holding. I think it was a foot injury or something like that he had coming into the game. He'll be starting next week. I think they might even give him a run just to give Paddy McCartan another week out, to be honest. That might be the go that they do with it. And if that is the case, he could average probably 50, 55, maybe even 60, to be honest, because he was on track here to get a 58 or so. If you look at just these two quarters, I guess. But then in the last quarter, he didn't touch it because it didn't go down to the Swans, to the defensive end. Like the last quarter, I want to say I think it was 76 to 69. So it was a 9-point quarter for Richmond to a 7-goal 4-quarter for the Swans. So he really just didn't get the ball. But I'm happy to see him playing. He really deserves it. And yeah, he should be getting more games in the future, as he's probably the first key defender up, to be honest with you, out of all the Swans now. And yeah, I think he's in front of Francis, to be honest. And yeah, and then you have Warner here kicking a goal when his brother was on the bench, was pretty funny. But yeah, ended up kicking a goal. He looked pretty good. But yeah, just no fantasy scoring there at the moment, as I think he was playing more of a forward type of role. I need to see his splits, but yeah, he didn't look like he had the most prominent role, I should say. Is there anything on here that shows it? Anything? No, it doesn't look like this website does anything that way. But yeah, that's basically it for this review. So if I go back to the main screen, that's my review of Richmond versus Sydney, in which Sydney ran out huge winners in the end, and we got to see, I guess, the return of Papley and Heaney to the actual good games in general, but games out of Taranto, Hopper, Baker, Papley, Heaney, Warner, and I guess Lloyd as well. So yeah, I'll see you guys in another video sometime soon. Thanks, guys. Goodbye.